United Van Line's 45th Annual National Movers Study revealing that people moved out of blue states for smaller mid-sized cities in 2021. This as crime rates soared in many big cities like Chicago, where it ended the year with its highest murder count in 26 years. Joining me now is former Detroit Police Chief James Craig. Chief, great to see you again. Thanks for being here. I think of three big items that are causing this exodus. One is security, people not feeling safe where they are. Another is the cost of doing business, taxes and regulations. And the third is freedom, the freedom that has been jeopardized by the pandemic, some of which for legitimate reasons, but some where governors and mayors went far too far in terms of these mandates and lockdown. Let's talk about security first. There is a pushback against the defund the police kind of movement. Is it coming in time to stop this exodus?
Well, David, let me first say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You and your family. Let me say the core responsibility of any governor, any mayor is public safety. We've seen it. I feel like a broken record now. Americans are fed up. They don't feel safe. I know your station reported earlier about what's going on in Beverly Hills. Now, I spent 28 years in Southern California. Southern Californians are leaving. They're leaving to go to places like Texas, Arizona, not so much Florida, but they want to go someplace where there are freedoms. But when you talk about safety and these rogue DAs, these bail reform judges, there are no consequences to those committing violent crime. Look at what we saw happen out in Chicago. Business owner owns an exotic automobile dealership, smash and grab in the middle of the day. And the only thing that the mayor responds in saying is, well, maybe you should get security. That's not how this works. And I think we're going to see more and more people leaving these large urban centers, and it's a shame. Where's the responsibility?
Well, you know, the job is not just the mayor or the governor. It does, as you suggest, go down lower than that to the district attorneys, to the judges, et cetera. How, even if you're well-intentioned, we've got a new mayor in New York, a former cop. He understands a lot of the problems that cause the rise in violence on the streets. Even if he follows through with his talk and tries to get the city back into a law and order situation, how does he go up against the DAs and the renegade prosecutors?
Well, he's going to have to use his bully pulpit, number one. Secondly, I'm aware that he's coming into a situation where there's a new DA, very progressive. He's got some on his city council, progressive. And so he's going to have to overcome that. The other thing that doesn't often get talked about, you know, what damage, and the damage is still there, even though many moderates, so-called moderates, are backing off defund the police movement, the damage has been done. And so how do you retain, how do you recruit police officers? You know, the Department of Justice.
Well, if you don't mind, can you answer the question? How do you do it? How do you reach out to people that are good candidates?
When you say good candidates, you're talking about police chiefs? I mean, I'm trying to follow you on this.
I'm just talking about getting enough cops in the street, because you have so many people, so many cops retiring because they're so frustrated. How do you get people back in as candidates just to be street cops?
You have got to support the men and women doing the job. If they don't feel supported, they're going to continue to leave. And it's one thing to throw money at it now, but where's the support? The defund movement is still alive and well. Many of the far-left progressives are still pushing that narrative out, and many who call themselves moderates are complicit. They say and do nothing. So what message is that sent to the men and women? And then let's just talk about the anti-police rhetoric that still exists and has had a negative impact. And many officers, we've seen more officers, unfortunately, gunned down because there's no consequence.
Horrible.
So that's the challenge that mayors face. Even though they're trying to do the right thing, they've got to overcome it.
We got to leave it at that. Chief Craig, great to see you. Happy New Year to you. Coming up.